So here we are, talking about Ark Survival Evolved, a game I have spent more than 102 hours on, and yet I'm still not quite sure why the hell I actually play the damn thing. But first, a little bit of history. Ark Survival Evolved is a game that was originally on Steam Early Access, and that means that you pay real money to play a game that isn't quite finished yet. And while it was under Early Access, the people who had already paid real money for this incomplete game could give the developers extremely important QA feedback, something that originally the developers would have to pay them for. So congratulations, Steam Early Access. If I was originally supposed to be paid for that QA testing, you've already cheated me out of $29, you fucking bastards. Which is say nothing of the people that you cheated $50 out of when you raised the price up when the game was fully released, which was a big scandal on its own, but let's stay away from that for the time being. As I mentioned earlier, Ark Survival Evolved is a game I've put a lot of time into, but I'm not quite sure why. Mostly because I consider myself a story-based gamer, as in I prefer the game that I'm playing to have a decent story that's going to keep me engaged. Ark Survival Evolved does certainly not have that. In fact, I'm not even sure Ark Survival Evolved has a story. From what I'm able to understand, you create a character, then wakes up on a beach, and you're basically told do whatever the hell you want. Which won't necessarily be a bad thing, because do whatever the fuck you want is 99% of the reason anyone plays sandbox games. In fact, I'm not even sure if Ark Survival Evolved has a story past do whatever the fuck you want, because once you've hit that very important milestone, which you get as soon as you wake up in the game, I have yet to have another instance where I'm given any form of actual direction. Maybe it gets more story when you do the island challenges later on, but again, I'm 102 hours in and haven't got around to that yet. Which I suppose may say a lot more about me than it does about the difficulty of the game itself. But regardless, it can't be argued that Ark is on a very slow boil. In fact, it's on such a slow boil that even after 102 hours, I still question why the hell I play this, because every now and then I'll sit down to do something on Ark and do nothing except gather materials. And once I'm done gathering those materials, I realise it's 12 o'clock at night and I have to go to bed to get ready for work in the morning, and that's how I chose to spend my evening. In a way that's only slightly more boring than spending time at the Paint Drying Appreciation Club. I'm sure by this point most of you are going, well, his opinion on this game's pretty clear, he thinks it's shit. Well, okay, you got me. I kinda do. But on the other hand, I've spent 102 hours on this game and I'm still gonna keep going back to it. And that's why I do think Ark is boring and monotonous. It has two things that are gonna keep me coming back to it. One, its multiplayer is absolutely amazing to play with friends, and two, you can ride a fucking T-Rex! Honestly, that's how the game was actually sold to me. A friend of mine went, do you want to play Ark? I said, what's Ark? He explained it to me and I said, that sounds like shit. Then he told me you could ride a T-Rex. Fucking sold! Let it never be said that any man grows out of the stage on which he wants to ride a fucking T-Rex. Any man who says he doesn't want to ride a T-Rex is going to hell for lying. But anyway, now we've talked about Ark's non-existent story, let's get to the meat of the stuff, the gameplay. And first of all, I want to give you one very important piece of advice. If you want a single-player game, do not play Ark. It is boring as fuck. There is a reason I called it more boring than spending an evening at the Paint Drying Appreciation Club. It is grindy as all hell. If you are doing it by yourself, you are not going to have a good time. Well, unless of course you find things like data entry sexually stimulating. The gameplay loop of Ark is actually very simple. First of all, you gather resources in order to keep yourself alive and make new things. Then you build new things in order to help you tame dinosaurs. Then you tame dinosaurs in order to help you gather more things. There is a little bit of variation when you start looking to get into the island challenges, where you'll have to run a bit of a gauntlet in order to grab a crystal that will open the challenge later on. And if memory serves, you'll need 3 crystals to open one challenge. But for the most part, you will be gathering, building, and taming, gathering, building, and taming. This will not change for the entirety of your time in Ark. However, there are 2 ways to fight this grind. The first is dinosaurs. Certain types of dinosaurs will help gather certain resources a lot faster than you can yourself. The second is having a lot of more teammates or tribe members in order to help you gather resources more efficiently. Now, I'm sure most of you who aren't sexually aroused by data entry are asking yourselves why the hell would I ever want to play this game, and the answer is playing it with teammates can actually be a hell of a lot of fun, mostly because you can do really stupid shit just to see if it works. The most recent memory I can think of things going terribly wrong for dumb ideas and stupid reasons is trying to park a bird, and an even larger bird that was currently in flight. As you might expect, it ended fucking poorly. But honestly, that stupid idea also exemplifies Ark's biggest strength, because it'll never not be fun to jump with a group of friends and try stupid ideas just to see if they work for a laugh. And from that perspective, Ark is a very excellent game, because it lets you engage with your friends along with anyone else on the server, even if your way of engaging with people who are on your side is probably to shoot them from long range and then take all their stuff. Honestly though, I suppose in some ways Ark does kind of encourage psychopathic behaviour, because there was one point where a man landed in front of me on a flying mount and proceeded to wave. He was absolutely no threat to me, in fact he was completely butt naked. However, friendly emote or not, the fact of the matter is, if I had a gun at that point, I would have very quickly been cleaning brain matter or whatever was inside of his inventory after I looted him. As it was, I didn't have a gun at that point, so I waved back and let him fly away, making careful note of where he was going in the hope I could loot his base later. Which brings me to what may well be Ark's most polarizing feature, its PvP. Ark can be absolutely horrible in player versus player, because it is possible to do extremely cruel and very vicious things to people that you don't know. In fact, it's a lot of fun to do just that. You could just stick with vanilla flavored murder, but Ark also gives you a lot of other ways to fuck around with people that you don't know, and indeed people that you do know for a laugh. You've also got the chocolate flavored steal all their stuff and leave them butt naked in the middle of nowhere, the ever pleasant strawberry chain them up and put them in a cage and leave them in the middle of nowhere, or the positively psychopathic drag their unconscious corpse back to your base and chain them up and use them as a shit farm. I'm not even being hyperbolic on that last one, because it is possible in Ark to use feces, both human and other kinds of feces, as fertilizer, and it has been well documented that some players will actually capture other unsuspecting players and drag them back to their base to be used as shit farms. No, I don't know why the hell they made that possible either, but goddamn if it isn't funny to think about so long as it's not happening to you. In addition to just stealing people's stuff or indeed taking them back to your base and chaining them up in some sort of weird human centipede fetish, it's also more than possible to steal their hard-earned dinosaurs, tee-hee. Or indeed set up a improvised explosive device at their front door so when they walk out the front, BAM! Ha ha. Naturally, a lot of Ark's playing around you can do with other people who aren't part of your tribe seems positively psychopathic from an outsider. Hell, I'm playing Ark and it seems totally psychopathic to me. However, while I can accept it might be a little bit psychopathic in some respects, we all need to remember that violence can be fun is practically God's gospel in video game land. And lest we forget, you can ride a motherfucking T-Rex!